This conference will now be recorded.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Jay Berkowitz, and welcome to the 10 Golden Rules Google Maps webinar. And I want to get right into it. This webinar is all about how do we rank in the Google Maps 3-pack. And the 3-pack is this area right here where you do a Google search for something like personal injury attorney near me, and the maps area is what we're talking about today. And the 3-pack is where you rank in what we call it the 3 results in either Google Maps or GMB, is Google My Business, is what Google calls this function. Okay, so the reason why this is so important, and I'm calling it the single biggest opportunity in digital marketing today, and we have about a 6-month window to take advantage of this opportunity. The reason why it's so important is because in many cases, the paid advertising is too expensive to make it pay. Like if you look at a search here for personal injury near me, the same search, and the ads at the top can be as much as $400 a click. The ads you really want in some categories, like personal injury, when you want people to click and call you right from their mobile phones, costs as much as $400 or $500, depending on the market you're advertising in. So that makes it super expensive to do this Google advertising. So the first free area that you see in a Google search is this 3-pack. Typically there's 3 results, or there's always 3 results in a map search for Google. And we're going to talk about other things like the ad that appears, etc. There's a little ad that also appears sometimes in the Google Maps. So what we're going to look at is we're going to cover the paid advertising. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But for the most part, this webinar is all about how to come up in the 3-pack. Now, the results over here down below, these are the traditional Google organic results. And there's always been 10 results in a Google search per page. But the other problem with that that's come up is if you do a search for a lot of categories, like if you search for restaurants, it's things like Yelp that come up. If you search for lawyers, it's things like Super Lawyers and FindLaw and Justia and Avo. So really, a real lawyer doesn't come up till number 6 down here, way down on the page. So the biggest opportunity, the single biggest opportunity, the reason why I chose to do this webinar on Google Maps comes up here in the map section. Now it's even more important on a mobile, because over 50% of searches now are done on mobile phones. And if you scroll down on mobile, here's the map pack, here's this map area, and we see that this is the first, you got to scroll all the way down here. This is the first free opportunity in Google advertising. The final point I'm going to make is that this stuff really works. We've put our attention, this is like a law firm, for example, we've put our attention on their Google Maps, and they were getting 5,000, 4,000 indirect queries. That's someone searching for like law firm, car wreck attorney near me, and now they're up to 7,000 indirect queries, meaning searches not for their name, not for their brand. We'll talk more about the data later. And look at the phone calls. They've gone from 150, 160 phone calls to 450, 448 phone calls. So really, there's tremendous opportunity coming from optimizing your Google Maps. So let's get into the meat of how to do it. First of all, how do you get started with your Google Maps? Number 2, the 3 secrets to getting ranked in that 3-pack. So how do you go from getting set up to getting in the 3-pack, coming up with an SEO result from Google? And we're going to talk about the next hot social media. We're going to talk about advertising in Google My Business, advertising that Google Maps section, and then tracking and analytics. How do you know what's working? How do you track it? And how do you determine where your success is? And finally, we're going to share some pro tips. That's what my guys call them. Some of the advanced strategies over and above the basics of Google Maps. So my background, as I said before, my name is Jay Berkowitz. I come from a place called Winnipeg, Canada. One day, a couple of years ago, it was colder in Winnipeg than it was on the surface of Mars. And then I got smart. I moved to Florida with my wife, Bonnie. Here's my dog, Parker. And we're very proud to recently become American citizens. 16 years ago, I wrote the 10 Golden Rules of Online Marketing. I've written 3 books and working on the 4th, Digital Future. These 2 books became Amazon bestsellers. I speak at conferences all around the world, and I've been covered on national TV and the Wall Street Journal. And I developed a course for the University of San Francisco. This was the first really significant national course on internet marketing. Our company is called 10 Golden Rules. We're a digital marketing agency based in Boca Raton, Florida, and we recently partnered with a national group called Snap Agency, Snap Advertising, and we're part of the Snap Advertising Network. So without further ado, let's get into the meat of how to top rank in Google Maps. So the first thing you want to do if you're just getting started is you want to search for your business. So here's a search for 10 Golden Rules, and we see 10 Golden Rules. This is our Google Maps result, or what Google calls Google My Business. So when you want to set up your Google Maps information and you want to add information, we're going to talk about how to do that, you're using a product Google calls Google My Business. Now, if your business doesn't already have a setup, like if you don't already have a Google Maps, and you search your business name, and this comes up, Own This Business, you can click there and you can set up everything in that click. Now, you're going to need a Google account. So you're going to need a Google My Business account, and you need a Google account for any kind of Google activities, whether it's Google Advertising or Picasa, their photo library, or whatever it is. So you set up your Google account, and you're going to have to confirm your location by mail. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask Google to send us a postcard. They're going to send the postcard with a PIN. We're going to enter the PIN in our Google account. The next thing you want to do is absolutely complete the profile. 100% completed profiles get 7 times more response, 7 times more results from Google searches. So you want to complete every single category and basically go through each of the categories on the side here and fill in everything like your photos, your services, your website, and all the different information that Google will allow you to put in. You don't have to do it all at once. Do it over a couple weeks, like any kind of search engine optimization. You're going to sort of work your way through it. Add all the information here. And perhaps the most important section is the categories. You want to make sure that you pick the categories that most closely reflect your business. And you want to fill in all these categories. So you want to fill in, you've got 1, 2, and there's a third one down here. You want to fill in all 3 categories. So you definitely, like if this happens to be a personal injury law firm, you definitely want to select the category personal injury law firm. And you want to be as specific as possible, because when people search, Google is a very mechanical kind of thing. Like the Google search engine is an automated robot. There's not a person back there at Google. When you do a search, someone does a search for car accident law firm, you've got to fill in the right category so it fits with that mathematical algorithmic decision, okay? So make sure you fill in all 3 categories and do it as precisely as possible. So the first section here, getting started. Find your GMB, your Google My Business, by searching your business name, then verify your location by postcard, then fill in all the sections. And even if you have a pretty robust Google My Business, I urge you to go back, log in, do this on like a weekly basis, because you'll find every week now or every couple months, Google's adding new sections and new things that you can do, new things you can add into your Google My Business. And Google My Business is just like Google, right? It's an algorithm-based search engine. So the more information you put and the more frequently you update the information, the better a chance you have for coming up in those searches. So fill in all the sections, and the very important thing, as I said, is filling in the categories. So next up, we're going to talk about the 3 secrets to getting ranked. Okay, so we definitely want to come up in the 3-pack, and we definitely, we don't want to be on like page 7 of a Google search. We want to come up here in this 3-pack result. So how do you get in the 3-pack? And the number one thing you can do is get lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of reviews. I mean, I talk about this a lot, and we're going to spend some time on it. It's so important. And if you look at this result, like if you look here, you're almost every time you do a search, like we see this law firm here, Fears are based in Dallas, Texas. You're going to see they got 707 reviews. Number 2 has 217 reviews. Number 3 has 214 reviews. And almost every time you do a search, even if it's a lightly searched category where the top guy has 24 reviews, the number 2 guy has 12 reviews, the number 3 guy has number 7 reviews, and it's not always going to be like 1, 2, 3, but almost always the people in the map pack, in the 3-pack, have lots of reviews. So how do you get reviews? And, believe me, it's very, very important. You got to work at it. The first thing I say is make it easy. So if you see here under 10 Golden Rules is our reviews. If you click on the reviews and then click on write a review and get the code, get the actual URL address for that little box where people can do the reviews, and send that out to your happy customers, send that out to people you do business with who would have something positive to say about you, and send them the link. Make it easy, right? Like you're asking someone to help you out, you're asking someone to do you a favor, or a lot of times I'll do a favor for someone. Like if they come in and they ask me for some information, or they call and I give them some information about digital marketing, I give them this link and ask them to do a nice review about 10 golden rules. The next thing I always suggest, write a check, get a review. And I say this over and over. Sometimes my clients get sick of hearing it, but then they get it. So let's say the example we used earlier, personal injury attorney. Someone comes in, you do a great job for them, you solve their case, you get a settlement or you get a check, and just before, when they're coming in to get the check, we recommend ask the person for a review. Now, you don't want them to use your Wi-Fi. You want them to use a unique IP address. So they either go on their phone, log into their Google account and do a review, or one of the things some of the attorneys we work with, or doctors as well, they'll bring their IT manager in with an iPad. The iPad should have its own Wi-Fi, its own internet access, basically, like it's its own connection, like through your service provider. You don't want to log in through the Wi-Fi, and you turn on and turn off airplane mode. What that does is it creates a unique IP address. The unique IP address then tells Google, hey, this is a little bit random. You know, the person's in the neighborhood, but they're not all logging into the Wi-Fi at the firm. So you want it to appear as natural as possible. The person logs into their Google account and does a review for you. And the other way I use this slogan, write a check, get a review. Let's say you sponsor a local high school team or a university softball team. These are great reviews because if you write a check, you buy the t-shirts, you ask them, hey, one thing I'd like in exchange for this sponsorship is, can you put a link on your website and say thank you very much to so-and-so company for sponsoring our softball team. That you're getting a link or you're getting a review to your website. Okay, very, very important. Another approach firms are taking is the concierge approach. Again, doctors' offices, accountants, lawyers. From the first time somebody meets the firm, the company, they're getting assigned someone who's going to be like a concierge service at a hotel. And they're constantly going to take care of all their questions. They're going to nurture them through the process. And then at the end, they've built a great relationship with these folks, and they're going to ask for a review. Very important, this strategy is the incentive strategy. You cannot offer cash incentives or coupon incentives to your customers. It's against Google's terms of service. It's against Yelp's terms of service. You never want to pay for reviews. But one thing you can do is you can have a contest and an incentive among your employees. And sometimes those are the folks who are best adequate to get you those reviews. So what you do is you offer like a $50 restaurant gift card, or if a smaller operation, a $25 gift card for every 4 or 5-star review that your employees can get from your happy customers. And believe me, it works. We did this for a law firm in Texas. They got about 54 reviews or 55 reviews the first month. We actually asked them to slow it down a little bit and just try and get 10 or 15 or 20 every month. Another firm used this strategy out of Arizona, and he said, I'll give a $50 certificate for every 5-star review, and I'm going to give an entry form to a contest at the end of the year. So every time an employee got a review, they got a ticket to the contest, and the contest at the Christmas party was a $1,000 prize. So they had a drawing for every one of those tickets. So that kept everyone interested, kept everyone in the game. You're gamifying reviews. And this attorney's goal was to get from 600 to 700 reviews in a period of time, because he saw how important it was when people went to the Google My Business, when they did a Google search, the person with lots of reviews and lots of good reviews was getting the phone call. So very, very important that you get these reviews. Another strategy is a tool called Birdeye, and there's several of these different services that will manage the review process. So what you do is you set up Birdeye, and then you email the happy customers, and you email them through the Birdeye application. And then the app asks them how their service was. And let's say someone ranks you a 4 or 5 out of 5. then BirdEye is going to immediately connect them with your Google account, with your Google reviews. And if they rank you a 1, 2, or 3, what they're going to do is they're going to ask for more information. And BirdEye is going to work with you to work with this customer to try and solve their problem. Now, one thing that's important is you can't have a gate. So you can't only send people who are happy into your Google and then send people who are unhappy into BirdEye. So BirdEye also has to have a link to your Google review on the 1s, 2s, and 3s. But what they're going to do is they're going to try and get people to engage with the BirdEye application. And then what you're going to do is go and try and make these people whole, make them happy. So BirdEye is very, very good. We've seen some tremendous results. One of our customers had a little bit of service issues. They were like a 3.4 out of 5, and then they started using BirdEye. Now they're up to about 400 reviews, and I think they're up to a 4.4 or a 4.5 on their Google My Business, on their Google rankings. So the first thing that's really, really important is reviews. The next thing is something we call NAP, name, address, and phone. You want to have consistent NAP throughout all your listings on the internet. Why is that? Well, again, Google's algorithm, Google's automated service is it's like basically a robot, right? So you want to give this robot very consistent information. Every single time they see your company's name, you want the company's name to be exactly the same. So NAP is name, address, and phone. Name, address, phone. Very consistent everywhere it's listed. Here's my friends in Louisiana, Dudley DeBosier, and every single place that you see name, address, and phone, you see a very consistent Dudley DeBosier, the exact same address, the exact same zip, the exact same phone number. So very, very consistent NAP, name, address, and phone. They've also done a great job on the third thing you can do to get in the top of the map pack, right? Number 1 is reviews. Number 2 is NAP. And number 3 is lots of local links. So they sponsor the Saints. They get links from that. They do scholarship offers. They get the local paper linking to them. And then the other thing that's valuable are citations. Now, it's the same as NAP, right? You want consistent name, address, and phone, but a citation is like a link, but it doesn't have a link. So it's a local listing that doesn't actually have a live link on the page. So citations also very important. So the 3 secrets to getting in the top of that map pack. Number 1, lots and lots and lots of reviews. And people feel bad about this. They think they're working too hard at it. They think it's cooking the game or whatever. But let's face it, as I said, this is the single biggest opportunity over the next several months. So many of your competitors haven't worked hard at this. They haven't figured out how to get their Google Maps listings up. So you've got to ask for lots of reviews. You've got to make it easy for people to give you reviews. Write a check, get a review, have a contest with your staff, gamify it, make it fun, put a chart on the wall. Who's got the most reviews and who's got the best chance to win the big prize at the year-end holiday party. Number 2 is NAP, name, address, and phone. Consistency all across all your listings. Get lots of local links and lots of local citations. Okay, I mentioned off the top that I'm going to share with you what is the next social media. And I'm sure a lot of you guessed, on a webinar about Google My Business, that I'm going to suggest that Google My Business is the next big social media. And what do I mean by that, right? This is a mapping function, but it's really not anymore. It's really become kind of like the next Facebook, because the host of Google My Business and visitors to the web page, to the Google My Business page, they can post photos and videos. They can ask and answer questions, and that's an important note. Your visitors can answer questions. So people ask questions like, do you have wheelchair accessibility? And anyone can answer that question, not only you. So you don't own your Google My Business, right? Google owns it, and anybody can weigh in there. Reviews. So reviews, it's just like Facebook or Yelp or LinkedIn. Other people can make reviews on your page, and you can update it with posts. And this is one of the most important ones. So it's very much like Facebook and LinkedIn and Yelp, where you can add information to this social media page. And here's another proof. This is just rolling out in beta, and people can follow you on your Google My Business. So it's really functioning like a social media. Google hasn't come out and said it, but I would argue that for businesses, you will get more traffic from Google My Business, from Google Maps results, than you will from LinkedIn and Facebook, depending on your business. Like, if you're a fashion company, Instagram's going to be the most important social media. But if you're like a local location, a doctor, a lawyer, something like that, your Google My Business is going to get you way more traffic than Instagram or Facebook. So what do you do to take advantage of this? Well, I've mentioned this a few times. Add pictures and videos. This is probably one of the hottest things right now in the algorithm, meaning that when we add lots of photos and videos for our clients, we're seeing their traffic, their number of searches, their number of phone calls, their number of people asking for directions. We're seeing it skyrocket. So add lots of photos and videos, add posts on a regular basis. Now the posts only stay up, I think, for 90 days, but you can add a post every week, for example, and add that on a regular basis to your Google My Business. Lots of Q&A. Ask questions, answer questions, get people to ask questions. I talked a little bit about that strategy earlier. Someone calls up, they ask me a question. They're not a big company, they're just starting out. They're not going to hire an agency to do their digital marketing quite yet. But I say, hey, I'm happy to answer your question, but I have a small fee. All you have to do is, if you like my answer, I want you to go and ask that question on Google My Business, and then allow me to answer it again so other people know the answer to your question. So I'm trying to keep that algorithm. The algorithm of Google search is very similar when we look at other Google properties. So what we learned from Google's Google algorithm is very similar in YouTube. Google bought YouTube. So when what we learned from the Google algorithm is appropriate in the YouTube algorithm. Same thing with Google My Business. We know that doing things on a regular basis, updating the Google My Business, is very, very powerful. So getting questions in there, answering those questions, very, very effective. The final tip is something I call cascading content. And we do this all the time for ourselves and all our clients. So when we announce this webinar, we put it on our website, we send out emails, we put it on Facebook, we put it on Twitter, we put it on LinkedIn, and we put it on Google My Business. So every chance you get, you want to add a post to Google My Business, and you want to have a calendar for these things. So at least once a week, you're updating information to Google My Business. It's what I call cascading content. It's like when you write a new article for your newsletter, you want to also put that on your website, also put it on your Facebook, your LinkedIn, and now your Google My Business. So why is Google My Business the next Facebook? Well, you can post photos and videos, you can update weekly posts, you can answer questions, people can answer questions, and you can do this cascading of content where the information you add to your blog or your website, you can put it on your Google as a post on your Google My Business and then link back to your website. I talked earlier about the opportunity for adding ads in Google My Business. And this is one of the tricky little things that Google's kind of snuck in there recently. If you see here, we always talk about the 3-pack. So typically there's 1, 2, 3 big results, 1, 2, 3 results in a Google Maps search result. And then recently Google started sneaking in an ad. They rolled it out in beta, I'm going to guess about a year and a half ago. We were doing it in the beta and it works really great. The ads in the Google My Business, these little ads, if you look here, like I put this ad here, like it's in black and white. Most consumers don't even realize this is an ad. They think this is a map result. They think these guys have a ton of reviews, and there's a high likelihood they're going to click on that first map result. So what do? Well, you have to do a little bit of work to get these ads to show up in your GMB. So, and this is how it looks on a desktop. They actually do it in green. But again, most consumers aren't even going to realize. A lot of consumers don't like to click on the ads. They're going to click here, and you're going to take advantage of that. So what do? Well, first of all, obviously you need a Google advertising account, what Google calls AdWords. You also need a Google My Business account. And then you're going to go into your AdWords account. You're going to click here on dynamic ad targets, and then it's going to pop out this section here. You're going to click on local extensions. Then you're going to click up here on extensions, and then you're going to create an extension. It's just what Google calls it. And either your account will pop up, or you have to find the account. You start typing in the name of your ad account, and then what you're doing is you're connecting Google Ads and Google My Business, and now you can show the Google Ads. And something else you can do is you can show other extensions. So extensions are basically what Google advertising calls different little things that appear in Google Ads. So here we see a map extension, and the Google ad is really big, right? Like it's pushed down, it's really, really big. Let me go back and see, what do we see in some of these ads? Up here, like these would be examples of extensions. So this advertiser is taking advantage of different things in the Google advertising. And this is the phone call extension. So, and here, this is a website. This is a review extension. This is a little extension with the little reviews. So you want to set up these extensions, and what we're talking about here is you have to link your Google ad account with your Google My Business account in order to show the ads in Google. And it works like a charm. And the next section, we're going to talk about measurement. So I showed this chart earlier, and we see that we've been working on this this website, this client's website, for over a year. And this is a year of rolling results. So they went from 3,000 direct queries to 19,000 direct queries. That's people searching for their exact name. They went from like 4,000, 5,000 indirect queries to over 7,000, almost 8,000 last month. Map views are up, way up. Search views are up. Website visits from 270, 280, up over 400. And really important, phone calls. Like in particular, if you're a doctor's office, lawyer's office, any kind of business, you want the phone calls, right? Phone calls are way better than people filling out a form and then you trying to call them back. I mean, if you're a business and you've tried to do that, 9 times out of 10, the person doesn't even return your call. So you want to get them picking up the phone, clicking on that extension, and calling you immediately. So what's important in Google My Business stats? Well, I just want to differentiate what I was touching on a minute ago, a direct search. So a direct search, like this is for a law firm named Balkin & Patterson. We see a search for Balkin & Patterson. It pulls up their GMB, Balkin & Patterson, okay? The second, and also if you search the address, that's also called a direct search. The next thing is a brand search. So if I just search Patterson Attorney, they come up in Google My Business, and Google calls that a brand search. And then these are the important ones, the discovery or indirect queries. So here someone searches personal injury attorney. We want to come up there. We're looking for people who don't know our name, right? Like, I mean, obviously people who know your name and they're just trying to find your phone number, that's cool. You want to come up in Google My Business. But the people who are searching for a law firm or the people who are searching for a specific kind of doctor, those are the folks you want to capture. You want to capture the opportunity searches. Okay, so optimizing Google My Business takes advantage of the branded searches, but more importantly, takes advantage of these indirect queries. And then here's the data. So you click on Insights, and you get all kinds of data in your Google My Business. Now, the most important ones we've already highlighted, but this is an example of the dashboard that Google My Business is going to show you. And these blue ones are the discovery searches. This client got 5,000 searches when people searched for their category, right? Like personal injury attorney or plastic surgeon near me. Okay, that's a discovery search, but searching on 10 golden rules, in our instance, would be a direct search. And then searching on like 10 rules internet company is probably what Google would call a branded search. There's very few of those realistically. So you want a lot of discovery searches. So in performance measurement, you want to also set up your call tracking. And the way you do that is use like a call tracking service. We use CallRail, and then we link that to our Google My Business. So we know exactly how many calls we got from Google My Business, and we know exactly how many indirect discovery searches we got. Performance measurement, very important, tracking that. And the final section we're going to go into today are what I call the pro tips. So these are basically little advanced strategies. If you've got all the other stuff covered, if you're already registered in Google My Business, you're already doing Google advertising, you're already familiar with the analytics and the performance measurement, here's maybe some advanced things you haven't thought of. So one of the really good ones is to get listed in other map services. A lot of people haven't thought of this. Apple Maps is very important because a lot of times when people are on an iPhone or an Apple device, Apple's trying to get them in Apple Maps instead of Google Maps. So you want to get listed in Apple Maps. I believe Apple Maps today is also serving the results for Yelp. So very important you get an Apple Maps, Bing, Yahoo, all the other search engines. So Google's going to be about 80% of the searches, but it doesn't hurt to also be in Bing and Yahoo for the other 20%. And if you're a restaurant or any kind of local business, you really want to be in Yelp no matter what. Yelp is going to come up in the Google searches, Google algorithm, so it's very valuable, very important. Another pro tip, do not try to fool Google with fake locations. We call it the wrath of Google My Business. We've actually seen it twice now where Google has shut down a Google My Business account because someone was using, and this is literally one that we were brought in to help them save their Google My Business. They were using this gallery as a fake location, basically. And it was a by appointment only location. And they were trying to say they have multiple locations throughout the state or throughout the country. And we actually took over the suspended account. We were able to get it fixed and we were able to repair this damage. But even if you have a legitimate location as your head office with 50 employees, don't try and fake it in the other markets. I always say it's not nice to fool Mother Nature. Google with 80% of the search market is like Mother Nature in this case, and you don't want to try and fool them with the fake location. Now, one of the solutions is to lease a location or partner with someone with another, if you have a buddy in another market, maybe you do some business with them and they're a referral partner and you can get a suite in their building and you can be like Suite A, or in this case, one of the attorneys actually bought a building. So they went into another market, they bought a little building, they're going to lease off some of the other offices, but now they have a physical location for their building with a real address. Another pro tip is to use what's called Google 360, and where you find it is at streetview.com/hire. But essentially what you're doing is you're hiring a Google authorized person, a videographer or photographer, and they're going to come in and they're going to shoot what's called the 360. So it's basically this camera is going to shoot your entire inside in your physical location. This is a law firm we did a 360 for in Tyler, Texas, and they actually shot, the 360, so it circles around their entire beautiful conference room. They have this incredible facility, and this is like someone comes in that Google has authorized as their photographer, videographer. They take the videos and the photos and the 360 of like your boardroom and different offices in your building. Then that person uploads it, and so a third party has now verified, yes, this is a physical location, here's what it looks like on the inside, and people can check that out. Another pro tip is to get lots of local links and local citations. We talked about that earlier, very important. So this is a product called ZipSprout, and what they've done is they've aligned with a lot of different companies and events. There's like fun runs and school sports teams, and basically you can go in market by market. We were doing this for a client in South Carolina, and we were able to find people to sponsor, and you actually pay through the ZipSprout application, and then they put a link to your website because you're officially sponsoring a race or something like that. So you're getting local links, local citations through ZipSprout. And I think this is the final pro tip. It's to set up location schema on your website. Now, this is very technical. Now, this is not for people like myself who are marketers. This is where I bring in my coders and we do schema for our clients. So basically, Google has a whole bunch of different kinds of schema, and it's basically a recommended type of code that you put on your website that makes it very, very simple for the spider to read and understand. So this is like things like address and name, and you're following a protocol that makes it easy for the computer to understand. So adding location schema is one of those things that's raising the game, giving us more success on Google Maps. Oh, sorry, I have a few more. Responding to reviews, right? So when you get a review on Google My Business, go in there, respond, say thank you very much. And of course, the bad ones, you obviously want to go in if you get a negative review and try and get hold with that customer. Try and fix the problem and get them to review and change and increase the stars they gave you in the review. Trackable numbers in the extension ad. I touched on this a little bit earlier. So if you've got a phone number, what we do is we use a service called CallRail. There's a number of other services like that, and we're able to use a pool of different numbers, and we know when people are calling from Google My Business, when they're calling from ads, when they're calling from the ad in Google My Business, we know where these calls are coming from. Now we can go back to our analytics and figure out what's working, which keywords are working, which ad copy is working, how many of the calls are coming from up here, how many of the calls are coming from down here, how many of the calls are coming from down here. We track everything very, very precisely down to the penny, and we're able to put our money where we're getting the success for our clients. We've found that these map pack ads, okay, so the calls coming from this area are getting 2 to 4 times more cases than the regular Google ads. So these map pack ads, I touched on this earlier, this is like a little trick of the game right now. 90% of people haven't figured out they can even put ads in Google My Business. So getting in there right now is one of those things, I call it a lead the trends opportunity, golden rule number 9, where if you get ahead of the marketplace and 90% of people haven't figured out this is an ad, 90% of consumers haven't figured out it's an ad, that's why we're getting 2 to 4 times more results. For this client, we got like 118 calls, 41 calls in another geo, 19 calls. So the data is working really, really well in our favor. Here's another great tool. It's called Local Falcon. And what this tells us, like this client's location is probably right here. So it means they're number 1 in the map packs, or they're probably here. They're number 1 in the map packs all around here. But over here, they're number 7, number 4, number 5. So what that allows us to do is turn our budget up in the Google ads, and we're getting more map ads because we're already number 1 in the organic. But this tells us where we're not coming up in the organic, and we can put more paid advertising dollars into that geography. So the pro tips: optimize other maps, optimize Apple Maps, Yelp, Bing, Yahoo. Do not use virtual offices. I know Google hasn't found all of them. I know they haven't shut you down yet, but we've seen the entire Google My Business account get shut down. So don't try and fool Mother Nature. A Google 360 is a really good idea. You're getting a verified Google videographer to come in, shoot a 360 view of your boardroom, and then they upload it, and then it's like legitimizing your location. Call tracking, very, very powerful, and engaging with Google My Business, doing reviews, getting in their Q&As, uploading content on a regular basis. Well, thank you for listening. I'm gonna do a review in 1 minute. Just a couple things I would like to ask you for. First of all, I do a lot of speaking at events. So if you think this would be valuable in your community or for your industry association, I'd love it if you'd refer me, and you can just find my speaking information at 10goldenrules.com. I'd love to come and speak at your industry event. Of course, the reason we do this is 10 Golden Rules is a digital marketing agency. So if I can follow up with you, or you can follow up with me, just send me a note and say F you, follow up, right? And we'll talk and see if there's a way we can help you with your digital marketing. And finally, my small ask, if you got some value out of this, please go to search 10 Golden Rules, like 3 separate words. Our Google Maps listing should come up, and give us a Google review. I'd love you for a 5-star review, and just say, hey, Jay, thanks so much for this webinar. I learned a lot that we're going to put in place, and 5-star reviews is going to help me. And obviously, if I helped you, I really, really appreciate it. So quick review, and then we'll take a few questions. Number 1, getting started. So set up your Google My Business account. You're going to do that with a Google account. They're going to send you a postcard. You're going to verify your location, and then you're going to start uploading everything, uploading pictures, videos, answering all their questions, and most importantly, fill out all the categories. Okay? The 3 secrets to getting ranked. Let's see if I remember them. Let's see if you remember them, right? Number 1 was getting lots and lots of reviews. Number 2 was the NAP, name and address and phone number. Very, very consistent. And I'll tell you, we make mistakes, or people make mistakes on our behalf all the time. We have to go out and correct it. Why is that? Well, our company's called 10 Golden Rules. and it's spelled TEN, golden rules. But a lot of people put 10, like the number 10 golden rules. So I say thank you very much to the Chamber of Commerce. You put a link to our website, but you listed us as 10 golden rules. So I asked them to correct that, because for NAP to be consistent, it's got to be crystal clear. It's got to be very, very perfectly consistent in the NAP, right? So I make sure we're not listed as, like, I think we call this suite number 216, suite 216. So I got to make sure it's not number 216 or it's not unit 216. So you want your NAP to be very, very consistent. And then, so the first thing is the reviews. Second thing is the NAP. The third thing is local links, getting local links and citations from local groups and associations. The new social media. So I'm arguing that Google My Business is a more powerful social media now than LinkedIn or Facebook is for many businesses. So you want, and for every business, you want to build it out. So you want questions and answers, you want photos, videos, and you want to engage with people. And most importantly, get a calendar in place and do a post every single week. It's the cascading content model I talked about. So every time you do a blog on your website, which you should do at least once a week, you're going to link, you're going to put a post in Google My Business and then link to that blog on your website. Advertising in Google My Business. So it's a little tricky. You might need an agency to do it, but what you're going to do is you link your Google My Business and your Google AdWords account, and then you can put those little ads in the Google My Business. This is a game changer right now. 90% of consumers don't know there's ads in Google Maps. 90% of businesses don't know there's ads in Google Maps. So it's like you're sneaking into Google Maps with an ad, and as my guys shared the data, 2 to 4 times more effective in getting customers than the regular ads. So this is like the best trick I can share with you today. Finally, get your tracking and analytics set up so you know exactly, how many searches are we getting, how many times are we coming up, how many times are people clicking, asking for directions, and calling us. Most importantly, those phone calls. Really focus on phone calls from your Google Map. So with that, I'm going to take a few questions. You guys can just ask questions in the chat. I got a little chat, the chat box over here. Okay, great. All right, Abigail, how do I link Google My Business and AdWords? Okay, you want to go back? Okay, so I'll just go back here. Where's advertising? Okay, I'll do this one more time. Okay, so what we're doing, and I talked at length about this, is there's an ad in Google My Business. And in order to link to get in this spot, you have to link your Google advertising account and your Google Maps or Google My Business account. So you go into your ad account, you click on Dynamic Ad Target, Location Extension, and then you're going to link your ad account in your AdWords to Google My Business. And you can then do things like extensions, the little phone extension, the map extension, but most importantly, that allows you to show ads in Google My Business. Okay, how do you send a link? Rob, good question. The best way to get people to do reviews is to send a link that I talked about, okay? I think I talked about that right at the start in terms of getting reviews, right? So basically the concept is make it easy for people. So if my business is called 10 Golden Rules, I search 10 Golden Rules, and I actually did this. I click here on reviews, and then I click here on write a review, and the little review box comes up, and then I copied this link. Now, if you're a little more sophisticated, you can put a bit.ly or a link shortener and send people a short link. bit.ly is a link shortener. So you copy this into bit.ly, and then you can get a short link, like it could be bit.ly, bit.ly/10 Golden Rules review or something. And then you could send that to people, and then they would go straight to this page. And obviously they need a Google account in order to do Google review. Some more questions. Thank you guys. I love the questions are great. So Keep them coming. How do you get the Google 360? Thanks, Martin. That's a good question. Okay, and I had a link on there, but I don't think I talked about it, so that's a good one. So here's the link. It's google.com/streetview/hire. And essentially what you're doing is you're hiring a videographer who's certified by Google to come out and shoot the 360. So he'll turn his camera all the way around in your boardroom, and then he'll upload that it's a video, but it's really a picture, but it's a video because it's a moving video. It's a 360. He'll upload that and connect it to your Google My Business, and he's verifying that he's been to your location. You have a physical location. You're not like a Regis office, and he's verifying your location for you. So it's very, very effective. Another question here. Karen says, how do you get the staff to do reviews? Well, look, the best thing I said is to make it a bit of a game, because, when we go through this with our clients all the time, and we go through it with our staff, like everybody cares about our business, and everybody, when they think of it, they do it. But, it's the old, I heard this the other day, WIIFM. You want people listening to that famous radio station, WIIFM. What's in it for me? WIIFM. So, make it valuable for your staff to get a review, right? So if they get a gift certificate, a restaurant gift certificate, remember, you cannot give the gift certificate to people for doing reviews. You cannot incentivize your customers in any way. If Google finds out you broke their terms of service, Yelp is very, very negative on that. So you got to give the incentive to your staff. So, even if you're a restaurant and the waiter does a great job and he asks for a review, he says, hey, you're really helping me out. If you could get a review, I'll get a little prize from my boss. And the people go on right there and say, Jay did a great job waiting on my table. And then he can go back to his boss and say, hey, I got a review. He'll get the gift certificate. And then the law firm used that great strategy where every review, every 4- and 5-star review, the staff member got a ticket for a drawing at the end of the year for $1,000 prize. And so the more tickets you got, the more chances you got for a chance to win the prize. What else we got here? What's the difference between a link and a citation? Thanks, Darren. Good question. So a link is when you get your local Chamber of Commerce and they actually link to your website. A citation is what I got from the Wall Street Journal. They wrote a story where they asked me about podcasting in the early days of podcasting, but they actually said Jay Berkowitz from 10 Golden Rules in Boca Raton, Florida, but they didn't actually link to my website. So a citation is where your NAP is there, your name, address, and phone, or in this case, my name and my city, but it was the Wall Street Journal. So it was a great citation, but it didn't actually link to my website. So the difference between a link and a citation, a local link is like when the Chamber of Commerce links to you. A citation is if the Chamber of Commerce puts your name, address, and phone, but they don't actually have one of those blue activated, it wouldn't look like this, where it's an actual clickable link. Okay. Another question from Brian, how do you track calls? Well, and I'm sorry, I should have had a slide on that. That's a good question. So we use a service called CallRail. And basically what CallRail does is it gives us a pool of like 10 numbers. And you can have 800 numbers or you can have local numbers. And what happens is every time an ad comes up in a Google search, maybe I can go so we can see an example and this is obviously it's most valuable on the phone. Where do we have that? So probably here. Yeah, this is a good example. So if people, this is a click to call, and these are the ones I said are the most effective. So if a lot of times you'll see someone will have the click to call here and somebody else won't have it. I mean, look, this is a free thing. It's a Google extension. So if you've got the click to call and this guy doesn't, you're going to get 50%, 60, 70% of the call. This guy's not going to get any calls. People are going to click here and go to his website. So you got to have the click to call extension. So we use CallRail. They give us a pool of 10 numbers. And then each time the ad comes, it rotates the number, and then it goes back to the top of the list. So basically, because you might only get 10 calls a day, CallRail knows like which ad it came from, and then basically we know how many calls we got from the ads, how many calls we got from the organic maps, so how many calls we got from these ads, how many calls we got from these ads, how many calls we got from these, and then how many, we also track calls right on the phone, on the website, on the normal website, so it's very, very effective. Anyways, I think with that, I'm going to wrap up because what's our time? I can't even see, but we're probably getting close to around 50 minutes. So I'm going to wrap up here, and I'll just go back to that final slide and make my little request one more time. I love you for Google reviews. So if you guys don't mind, just do a search for 10 Golden Rules. And when our Google Maps or Google My Business comes up, you'll just click in there. Here we go. Click in there and go to Google, go to 10 Golden Rules, click on our reviews, click on Make a Review, and then if you have a Google account, it's really easy. Just take about 2 minutes, and 5-star reviews are really, really appreciated. Anyways, thank you so much, and we will be posting this on YouTube, so if you want to go through it again, please do. I know I went quickly and there's lots of details, but thank you all for being here today, and good luck with your Google My Business.